Hello people, and welcome back to part 39 of Thessia. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Ton of fun to be back in Modded Cities 1 after a little break over the Christmas period, and I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and New Year's if you do indeed celebrate it. Today, we're going to be working on Ascension's Airport. It'll be a divisive one, this one. It's going to be a combination between Aviation Club and a tasteful Airports DLC build, but turns out really nicely, and a big transport duel for Thessia. Get stuck into it, shall we? So in the last episode, guys, before Christmas on Thessia, I asked you whether or not we should use the Aviation Club or an Airports DLC build to build Ascension's Airport. Pretty much half of you said Aviation and the other half said Airports DLC, so I think we're going to do both. So we're taking inspiration from Cairns Airport today. Now, Cairns Airport is Australia's 7th busiest airport, so it's a pretty busy one. It's not quiet by any means, but I don't want to go to the scale of Cairns for Ascension's Airport, and I think to also justify the scope of this airport, we're going to pretty much expand the footprint of Ascension quite significantly from what I had initially planned. We'll bring up many more suburbs out this way, or on the opposite side of the highway, just to really give the town a bit more expanse, I guess. But either way, we haven't done a modded airport since the Sky Harbour, which was absolutely bloody massive, and yes, way too big. So I'm looking forward to doing a much more tasteful one here today. So I think we're going to bring this arterial road down here. We're now going to narrow it down into a 2-lane road because, of course, all the terminals have 2 lanes attached to them. So let's go for, let's bring it up to this road guideline. That feels like it's going to make sense. And we'll do it a touch further. Then let's tether our terminal. I've been browsing through them. I think the classic airport terminal is a little chunky. I think I'm much more inclined to use the modern airport terminal. Got some nice glass on it. And it's not too dominant within the town either. I'm very scared of this build today. I'm constantly squinting at it. So we'll see how it goes on. So anyway, let's first of all start configuring our terminal. So we'll grab ourselves the modern airport concourse. And I'm going to bring this down again. We can lose a lot of this road frame here today. Let's do 20 units. Now if I was to bring that down there, yeah, it does actually lose us that connection, doesn't it? So let's do this side as well. There we go. Just so I know where I can actually have the terminal right up against the road here. So that'd be 18. Let's repeat that on the next side as well then. Let's do 18 here. Okay. And then I think we're going to do a second terminal. But obviously all part of the same concourse. So again, we're taking inspiration from the airport in Cairns, which is kind of like a L-shaped airport, and what we're going to do here is kind of like an inverted version of that. Because in Cairns, the airport stands on the outside of the terminal. On this one here, we're going to do them on the internal, and have the runway going along the coastline here, and then drop the aviation club in here, because even in Cairns, actually, there is kind of like a smaller general aviation terminal as well, so we want to make sure we respect that if we can. Cool, so let's have this come down here. I guess really we don't need this one to come down either, do we? Let's break it off there, and then we'll do a little put up there. Cool, and we can have it like that. Possibly worth upgrading to cycling as well, while we've got the cycle infrastructure around here, right? Let's maybe have this one as that one, and then we'll upgrade the one with the median into cycling. Then people can cycle directly into the terminal itself. Cool, so basically the front of the terminal here is going to be car parking. However, there is a building I want to include that isn't going to be car parking, and this is the conference centre from the Africa in Miniature Park. Which I've been trying to find an excuse to use this building for a very long time, and I think having it along Main Street Ascension as part of the airport complex is where I'm going to use it. About as chunky as the mall we've got over here. Kind of another significant structure within the town, isn't it? But I really like it. I think it's going to be quite nice. Of course, there's lots of detail we can do around it as well. Little car parks you can probably squeeze in here too, I reckon. So we're going to have that there. We'll leave it there as a reminder that we actually want it there. And now let's return to the configuration of the airport. So we may do a little extension of the terminal that way. So I think in terms of kind of gameplay and actually attracting planes into this airport, I think we just want to stick to smaller aircraft stands. I don't really want massive jumbos landing in Ascension. I'd rather save that for Thessia's main airport, which is probably going to be over here by the CBD. So we'll get to that eventually though. That's a little ways away yet. Let's go ahead and start placing down some terminals. So we want the small aircraft stand. We'll have this one here. And I think to help break up the pattern of loads of aircraft stands, because again I don't want tons of planes landing, we will then break that pattern up with a plane prop. Maybe let's do 2 here. Oh, actually, maybe let's delete this one. Then let's grab one of the airport lounges. These little things. And then can I have that? We could centralize it against the back of the terminal. But if we were to have that there, and then essentially just repeat that design on the opposite side. So if we were to grab another medium plane, I want to line it up to where the concrete texture starts, just about basically. A little bit further over than that maybe. Yeah, about there. Of course we can fill this out with airport aprons and whatnot to get a cohesive concrete area. And then we'll do another small aircraft stand. So this way we're making our airfield look a lot busier than it actually is, but also keeping the amount of planes that are going to land here in check, because it's kind of unbalanced in Cities 1, isn't it? The amount of planes that land at these things, it goes a little bit crazy. So the next one we'll do is here. Then maybe let's grab a small plane this time to sit next door, and then we'll do another stand, just another small one about here would do. Is that a freight plane? It is a freight plane, isn't it? Let's not do the freight ones here. We'll save the big cargo terminal for the main international airport on the island. Let's do a medium part plane if we can. That there seems good. And then we'll just jig this one over a little bit. Cool. So 4 aircraft stands should keep the air traffic in some sort of sensible control. Let's link all of them together now. Be great if we could repeat that angle there actually. What's that? Can we adjust that angle? It was 5 units on a 128-degree angle with our road guidelines snapping and angle snapping. There we go. We'll mimic that one there. And then let's also just draw this one out on the angle so we know that we're connecting into that same spot up this way. So with the runway, we definitely want this running along the coastline. We'll probably give this a key as well. So let's do 140 units. Should be what I'm after here. I think we'll terraform the land a little bit here because I'd like the runway to come back a little bit. Buy some more soil. There we go. So with the runway, it's going to run along the coastline obviously. So let's have it run. There's our 2 taxi lanes. Let's go for about here. Again, you can see where this wants to just extend down, and we can almost do some, not full terraform runway piers here. I think we're going to end up taking a lot of inspiration from Sydney Airport for the main international airport, so I want to save that idea for that build. But we can certainly have some sort of inspiration here. So let's have the runway go from this way. We'll go for 160 units. That should keep the airport police quite happy. And then right here is just where we need to configure in. Bring that on into there. And then this one down the other end. Always leave 10 units on with the road length. That way you get enough distance between the wings of the planes landing and the ones taking off. And then we want to bring this down to the road guideline of that current taxiway, which is there. Then we can hook that in. And I guess we can also feed this one through there as well. Might also be worth doing some node controller work here as well, just to remove some extra nodes that aren't needed. Just like that one. Cool. So we let the game play. That is now a functioning airports DLC setup, which should be quite nice. We'll see our first planes leaving here. Have a little look at them. Oh no! Oh dear. Oh dear. So, does it matter? Aquatic planes in Thessia. Wonderful news. Nothing stops the Australians, does it? There we go. Fabulous. The new water-powered jets. So they're going to fly away to the outside connection, which... this is a good old spiral away, isn't it? There it goes. Then it's going to come over there and go out the map. Tremendous. Cool. So we'll let that water subside, of course. It's going to slightly flood the section, but it'll be okay. But it has to be said, I really don't mind the aesthetic of the terminal kind of being part of the town centre. Definitely never used an airport like this before. So we'll see how it turns out, but it should be quite a nice addition, I think, for the town itself. So in terms of public transport here, just with the way we're building this, the train isn't really going to connect into this now, unless we brought it along this way to connect in, but I don't know how I feel about that. Let's have a look at possible public transport, because I don't just want people to arrive at the airport and then have no methods of public transport to get anywhere else, because that's just a recipe for bad traffic in Cities 1. So we could attach the airport train station here, which actually works very nicely with the conference centre, doesn't it? It's a very similar aesthetic there. Yeah, and then our alternative here is we run the train along the runway, sort of parallel with the road here too. And then we can hook it into this line via probably another rail crossing. Or bring it out from this side first. No, I think I'm trying to force it. I'm trying to force it in. It doesn't particularly feel very natural to get the train in. Maybe it's a future upgrade, but for right now, no, I think we're going to leave it. I think instead, what we are going to do is actually go for the bus stop. Here. Let's go for this one here. And we'll connect it in like so. Let's go ahead and drag this back so it's a nice 90-degree angle. There we go. And hopefully we can feed this one down here too. Can we get in there on that angle? Like we can, and make this junction a bit more interesting, won't it? And let's also use a bit of node control as well, just to bring those nodes a little wider so they're not quite as tight together. We could also shift the blue node a little bit as well. There we go, something like that maybe. Also not forget to square everyone off and just throw those red and orange nodes back a little bit too. More interesting IMT to be had there, isn't there? More connectivity for the airport as well. Quite a few dead knocking about in Ascension, also in the middle of a death wave. We do have death care here. There should be a prior preservatory tucked in here somewhere to deal with that. Cool. But it's coming together. The runway is still flooded, which is a shame, but that's hopefully going to dissipate. Although I can see, yeah, we're actually on a recession here, aren't we? It is recessed into the ground. Can we grab all those nodes and ask it to become the same height as everything else? No, we can't. As it turns out. Yeah, the airport does not like having that done to it, does it? Okay. Just use up and down then instead. Cool, so with this bit here, I think what we will do is actually flood the airport a little bit more. Let's go ahead and find a nice level terrain area. Something like that. And then we'll use Network Multi-Tool to grab a key. We'll do simple seawall, seems the most appropriate here. And then we'll do our parallel function. We'll go from here down to here. Not. You have to select another one further down first. Yeah, do it one node at a time. Okay. It's just because it's a runway. And yeah, we want to bring that. Let's give it a little bit of breathing room either side of the land. There we go. I think that's what we want. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Get this tidied up with some terraforming as well. Cool. That gives the airport a bit more permanent structure, doesn't it? I think I'm happy with that. Some slight height differences to be amended, but we'll do that in a time lapse. But otherwise, we've now got some more planes arriving as well. This airport's also pretty expandable too. If we wanted to bring in more terminals, it's quite easy just to bring off another concourse this way, isn't it? I think I'm happy with that, I think. We'll certainly run with it anyway. Let's grab the old air control tower as well, while we remember. And we just want the modern one is fine. Hopefully he's got a nice view of the runway there, hasn't he? Wonderful, we'll have that there too. So I also mentioned bringing in the aviation club as well. So in Ken's editing gag, he's going to leave some Google Earth shots up for us today. And we can see that there is kind of a general aviation club just right by the suburb on the opposite side of the road in Cairns. So that's what I want to bring in. Go ahead and search for the aviation club. Yeah, this is one. Let's have it there. It's going to flood in a minute anyway because there's another tsunami about to hit Ascension. So I want it parallel with the main taxiway, but then of course we'll knock it back so the planes aren't colliding with each other. Something a little bit like that. Now the sub-buildings from the aviation club make for fantastic detailing for an airport, so we'll certainly use some of those as well. Cool, so I want to keep it locked on that same axis, and then we'll have it run this way, I think, is where we want it to sit. So it's part of the overall airport complex itself, right? But functions as a smaller airfield for smaller prop planes to take off and go and enjoy the Isles of Thessia. Wonder where they fly to. Oh, is he going to fly to CBD? Can we tag along for that ride? Where have you gone, tiny plane? Well, Ascension's really getting a battering today, isn't it? It's getting absolutely screwed. Oh, wonderful, in the first person camera. Oh, this is going to be a very teasy reveal, isn't it? Please don't turn away. Oh, he's going to actually hit the mountain, isn't he? A bit more altitude, mate. He's playing it dangerous there, isn't he? But look at that, what a view. What a very cool view that is, right? Absolutely fabulous. Flying out from Ascension Aviation Club up to the CBD. See the port over here as well. I can't wait till we fill all this out. Thessia is going to be a truly special city, isn't it? Oh, space for a Bunnings down here as well by the coast. We're definitely going to do that at some point. See the water suburb that we did. Very, very cool. Is he going to keep going over the CBD? Is this the rest of the video? I think it is. Settle into this, everyone. This is the rest of the video. Well, you see Queen's Park down there as well. Oh, there's also an empty spot to the downtown there, isn't there? See that one there needs filling out. Oh, wonderful. Flying toward Venezia now, are we? Yep, there's Venezia. Venezia Vineyard. Or Thessia Vineyard. Oh, very sharp turn. Very sharp turn. Time to go home, I guess. Now we're going to Valkyrie now. Is it in the fields of Valkyrie where we can see the brewery and the fishery? All those trains coming and going as well. God, it's busy, isn't it? Train lines are relentless. This is just fantastic. This is the best bit of the game, isn't it? See to Sentinel over there too. See Sentinel Port. Sentinel University in the distance. The beach as well. Those cargo ships coming and going. Still need to do something with Mount Egna as well. That's going to be a unique build. I look forward to that one. Oh yes, you can see all the little national highway roads getting use. Come down to the banana egg interchange over here too, which is flowing like a dream. Oh, this is brilliant. This is so much fun. Little Trump interchange getting use as well. Goodness gracious, I didn't realise this would be the best bit of the video. God, that's busy, isn't it? Look at that. Real busy roundabout interchange there. Still flowing though. Delicious, everyone. Absolutely delicious. That was fantastic, wasn't it? Oh god, it nearly crashed the game though. It's not happy. God, that was a tremendous amount of fun, wasn't it? Even the PC started to have a little bit too much fun then. Oh, either way, let's return to the airport. So, we want to... God, do you know what I missed now? The snap to sides of building feature from Cities 2. What a great little addition that turned out to be, right? Cool. So that roadway will give it its connection. And I'd be quite happy to actually link this up with the road that runs to the main terminal over here as well. And possibly bringing that back down into here. I reckon so. And because it's not quite straight there, I reckon what we can do is just do some node controller magic again. Let's push our green friend back on the orange one. And just want to shift that green one back into the straight line. We'll also want to do the same thing with this as well here. Let's shift the entire road over. Gives us a more interesting intersection here to do some nice IMT with too. Although having just noticed it, this road here doesn't need to be cycling. Neither does this one either, really, does it? Yeah, downgrade that one too. So with the rest of the space around the front of the terminal, we're just going to do a lot of car parking, many different patterns to be taken from cans for that. So I'm happy with that one there, I think. Before we do move into a detailing time-lapse, there's one more thing I'd like to have a little look at, which is using intersection marking tool. In a way we haven't really used it before. We obviously covered the various updates that IMT has had over the years. We have that just going to there like that. Is that okay? I think so. Push the blue one back a little bit. There we go. Everyone's fine with that. Yes, so IMT. We've never really used it in this fashion, but I think for this particular instant, it's going to be quite appropriate. So for the arterial road here, I want to set up some new lines. So with this one here, I'll do this one, and I want to change it to a decorative network, and I want the airport fence for it, okay? So we want to shift it off as well, so let's move it so it's just on the little bit off the grass, something like that. Yeah, that's quite cool. I want to add a new rule, and I want this one to be trees. And we can do different tree assets here. Let's turn off our snapping. I want some Aussie bush shrub, seems quite a good shout. Again, we want to shift them all off, so let's use the scroll set here. And I also want them to be a little bit less frequent than that, so I'm going to increase the step. Now within the additional section here, when you're doing trees, there's a whole bunch of different things you can change. You can do the probability, which will just increase the probability of it appearing along this line. You can change the distribution values, so it starts different ends of the fence. So say I'm pretty happy with that one, to be honest there. Then let's add another rule, and I want this to be again another tree, and let's see if we can search for a bush of some kind. Let's do one of these little numbers, and again same process, just want to shift them to where the rest of the overgrowth currently is. And let's open that additional tab again and maybe change the distribution and bring the probability down a little bit too. Also change the scale so if you want to be a little bit bigger. Okay. And then just by doing those three simple tricks, if you like, for lack of a better clickbait phrase, you just end up with a much more randomized overgrown fence pattern where you can kind of sit here and see the shrubbery peeking through the fence. You've obviously got the airport section there as well. And then once that's done, we just want to, you can even save this as a template as well if you want it to. But this is pretty specific to an airport, so I'm probably not going to save this template. And then I want to paste it over all these sections. Of course, you can also do the apply to between intersections, and it'll throw it against the whole road up to the next intersection, which is very handy. But then just by using intersection marking tool like that, we can decorate an entire section of road without actually using any nodes in the fence, because it's all IMT. And then you just have this overgrown fence here. Again, if it's too dense, then don't forget, just jump back into those IMT values and change the probability or the scale or something, and then it'll all pan out into a very cool use of the mod, which will of course shelter our runway from any pedestrian traffic that decides they need to go into it. We have some plane traffic here, actually. You boys okay? You all waiting for one stand, are you? No, he just despawned, I guess. There we go. People coming off now. Wonderful news. Cool. They're filtering through now. Well, still a little bit of a backlog. But they're despawning there, aren't they? Which is interesting. The other ones all despawn if they drop off their passengers? Yeah, they are actually leaving once they come in. That was causing them to wait for so long. It's a little unusual. Hopefully that's going to stop happening, but we'll wait for it to come in anyway. But yes, anyway, that's the point here of using IMT's sort of network and tree decoration feature to line a road with a more random pattern. Of course, you can also come in to each segment as well once you've done that, and then slightly variate something. Add a new rule in that maybe has a taller tree, and maybe we'll go too tall. We don't want many trees near an airport, even though Cairns one's actually surrounded by them. But another little fun way to use intersection marking tool to decorate huge stretches of road relatively quickly rather than having to drop all those plants and fencing in yourself. So it's a nice little trick anyway. But either way, that does feel like a good point for a detailed time-lapse. We're of course going to fence off the rest of the complex, get some airfield detailing in here as well, finish off the rest of the concrete detail that needs to be here, and a ton of car parking and maybe some more high-rise apartments over here as well. To decorate the front of the terminal and also get some bus lines flowing too. Of course, we've got the intercity terminal over here. We've got one person waiting. So we'll set up a shuttle bus service that runs to the airport. And then definitely get some other bus services running. Maybe to further towns, maybe a bus service back to Valkyrie. But also having a look at the airport from kind of the hillside. I do like it. I enjoy the aesthetics of those little, the plane wings coming and going. Oh, is that the outside connection? It is, isn't it? They're all they're all loaded. All these Thessians are about to be minced up in that turbine, aren't they? That's an interesting spot to land. But either way, Thessian Airlines, nothing stops it, does it? Loading up fresh passengers in the bloody water, mate. But either way, let's do some detailing, and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, let's have detailing review, shall we? So we'll start at the end of the landmass here where we have some overgrown fence with the airport fencing and some lovely bushes over here. Our planes are coming down this way, so ended up drawing the taxiway under the runway of the aviation club, almost to kind of, you know, blend it into the overall kind of runway taxiway configuration using some pathways and brushes. And they're actually taxiing along this runway, which I'm sure is going to upset the aviation police, but I think it's quite cool, and it really helps make the aviation club feel like it's part of the actual airfield itself, which I really like. It's a super cool trick. We'll hopefully see a plane come and taxi on it before then. But yes, in front of here we just used the sub-buildings from the aviation club with some prop planes at the front just for some simple airfield detailing, nothing overly complicated here. Pretty happy with how it turned out. Then also another sub-building over here. We actually used some after dark lights to illuminate this at night time with some very appropriate after dark lights. It's looks super cool, doesn't it? Really like how that turned out. And then used pathways under all of these actual dirt decals, so it becomes a functional park essentially. Out the front of the aviation club, which I really like. It's a nice border between the suburb and the actual airfield itself. Over this way, we have lots of people at the bus station, and this busiest platform here is a new airport shuttle bus line, which we'll hopefully see one of the buses arrive momentarily. Yes, there we go. We have the articulated bus, so this one runs right the way through the middle of Ascension and stops over here. Outside of the train station, which of course is linked into the rest of Thessia via the wider train network that we've built over the last 39 episodes. So they can get further beyond Ascension via bus once they do arrive at the airport, kind of a bus to train station shuttle service if you like, and it's definitely worth doing because there's a ton of people waiting on this as well. I believe the buses are still staggering across the line, so there's like 5 of them sat in traffic somewhere. So over the course of time, they will of course stagger out and be able to clear this backlog for them, but nice to see that it's getting use. Around our, what's it called, conference centre, we did lots of little car parking patterns with some trees. There's another one over here as well. And a really nice accompaniment, I think, to the airport itself. Very quirky building, quite Australian actually in its nature, even though I do realise it is African. And yeah, it just sits really nice in front of the airport, doesn't it? It helps to, I think, kind of make the terminal a little more tolerable, a little more digestible with that conference centre. And then this sits really nicely on the main road of Ascension. With lots of commercial over here as well. Did a nice little commercial fusing around the corner near the multi-storey units. And over here is just more car parking space to service the airport, with leaving some dirt available as well. And then we also dropped in an airport's hotel as well. Only felt natural, especially with it being near Ascension Beach, that these guys have kind of a really nice view up here, actually right from the private rooftop pool down to the Ascension Beach walk. And then there's tons of people making their way back into the terminal itself over here. I just noticed the terminal has car parking spaces here, which is a really weird place to put them, isn't it? But either way, they are there. And then also rounded out the airfield here with a little just sort of pier peninsula that holds the concourse. And then some very basic airfield detailing with plane props, a single hangar and some air fuel, airplane refueling stations here too, with a couple of planes ready to be refueled. And they do back up occasionally, there you go. Prime example of finding it. It seems to be this terminal here that's despawning most of the time. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but when it does happen, they do get a little bit backed up, which is slightly annoying, but just a symptom of the airport's DLC. I think there's not really that much we can do to accommodate this, apart from just tell the current existing plane to disappear, at which point the next one will move in, and then they sort of continue their journey on then. So it can be a little bit buggy, but it's airport's DLC. There's not a vast amount we can do about it. And then that really sort of ties the whole complex together, and I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. I'm definitely glad that we went with the solution of having a mix between Aviation Club and the actual airport's DLC. But otherwise, guys, it is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much indeed for watching. If you've enjoyed it, likes, comments and shares below really go a long way in helping to show this video to more people on YouTube. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave me a dislike as well. I imagine this one's going to be one of the more divisive builds in Thessia, as the camp was split no just the aviation club, and the other half was saying no do an airports DLC build. This is a kind of a happy in-between. I'm definitely glad we went with the airports DLC build, because to replicate the infrastructure in Cairns, which this town's very much inspired by, then the aviation club definitely wouldn't have been enough on its own. So really happy, nice fusion of the two complexes. An enormous shout out as always to the patrons that support the channel, with a special roll call to Felix Wilkinson. Thank you for being patrons guys and continuing to support the channel. Really appreciate you all. You're all absolute heroes of the people. Thank you so much. Don't forget to check out that instant game link down below as well. It really helps support the channel even further, and you'll get yourself some super cheap games in return for your support on the channel. Otherwise, please do enjoy today's cinematics, but I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.